How's it going, you amazing Hylians? It's Jay, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about what makes Ocarina of Time one of the best Zelda games ever. It'll come as no surprise for those of you who know me, I love Ocarina of Time. It is a masterpiece of storytelling and game design, but what makes this game just so iconic? In today's video, let's take a look. There have been many great Nintendo franchises out there: Pokemon, Smash, Mario Kart, Metroid, Kirby, Splatoon, the list just goes on and on and on. One that's super special, that so many people out there love, has to be The Legend of Zelda, a story of courageous hero, a princess with boundless knowledge, and a powerful pig bloke who's hell-bent on destruction, or something like that. The Legend of Zelda has gone through many guises, from the very first opening act with the NES debut, a world free of barriers, just teasing exploration, to the mysterious, dreamy Link's Awakening, to a whole bunch of interesting spin-offs in between. I just love it. The deep, challenging dungeons to crawl through, the story of growth and of overcoming the hardest obstacles, the characters of course, there's nothing quite like it. But one game that really stands out to me has to be Ocarina of Time, and I'm sure a lot of you will agree. Some of you may think, oh my god, that game is super overrated, or maybe that I'm blindsided by a blanket of nostalgia. Maybe I am, but in today's video let's have a look at just what makes this game so darn good. It's creeping up to Christmas 1998 and Nintendo had been teasing something truly special for its new 3D machine. I read all the magazines cover to cover, trying to desperately find a page that I hadn't read yet for fresh info. Back then these magazines were a monthly affair, and with the internet in its infancy, it was an excruciating wait for something new. We'd seen the teaser trailers for on VHS tapes, a polygon Link slashing his way through dungeons, and those freakish Stalfo skeleton warriors craving a piece of his blood. Then the wait was over, a huge sprawling world to wander through and devour. From the very first step you awaken from that traditional Zelda slumber and you climb down that ladder, this was and still is a magnificent opening to a huge, sprawling adventure. Of course, Nintendo had told similar stories before and after Ocarina of Time. It usually involves Link having a cheeky snooze, but this was something different. I think it comes down to the pacing and that sense of journey, where we enter Link's timeline where he already has a relationship with this small, peaceful village. There already is a backstory, you're kind of shoved into Link's timeline. He doesn't quite belong though, he's different, and as a player you really read and feel that energy straight away. Ultimately, it just comes down to that story, the sense of leaving home, discovering who you are, and setting off into that unknown. Zelda games have had loose stories in the games before Ocarina of Time. They worked, but they lacked that depth and character. It really came down to Link's Awakening on the Game Boy that really unlocked that world and sense of character and world building and dialogue, and really made these characters feel like they lived in that world. It gave them purpose, intention, and most importantly, emotion. Fortunately, Nintendo channeled those characters and ideas and concepts from the Game Boy game into Ocarina of Time. These characters had more weight, more depth to them. Sure, a lot of the characters in Ocarina of Time are like signposts dressed up as avatars, but for the main cast, the main characters you interact on your journey, they had something different about them. Cutscenes, something that really started to become a thing in the 90s. Yes, I feel really old right now. They aren't thrown in every 5 minutes, they aren't just built up for the sake of being there. Nintendo really wanted to tell a story and kind of guide you through this game, but ultimately left these to the only really important moments of the story. It's what I love about the game and what I love about Zelda that followed. There's a story, but it's not really hand-holdy or incredibly passive. We are stepping out into Link's shoes, living that adventure. It's a story that you can connect with, kind of relate to in some ways. It's a coming-of-age tale, a test of courage, and a test of strength. It feels that Link grows to have purpose, and as a player, you do as well. Beyond the storyline comes just how balanced the game's design is. Dungeons aren't ridiculously long and they don't often drag. Even the water temple, yes, I said it, the water temple, feels just the right length. It's challenging, varied, and most importantly distinctive. They each have their own signature design and feel and flow. Talk to any Zelda fan about their favourite dungeons in the series and surely most will spawn from the N64 adventure. Maybe there's a bit of nostalgia kind of stitched in there, but they are really, really good designs. Having played all the Zelda tales since Ocarina of Time, only a few dungeons have really stood out. And beyond these incredible set pieces is that sense of time. Nintendo made the most out of the limitations of that N64 cartridge by making players backtrack and relive certain events by introducing time travel. That is one of the strongest elements about what makes Ocarina of Time just so good. Learning a song in the future from a deranged windmill man to end up going back in time and teaching that same song to that man who teaches you in the future. That is the weirdest tongue twister in any video that I've ever done. It's mind-boggling and just one of the examples of some of those genius moments in the game. I looked at the backstory of how Ocarina of Time came to be in a video earlier this year. The team really wanted to create what they call an emotional immediacy within this world, breaking free from those maze-like layouts and really establish a sense of dread, pressure, and finding secrets, according to Shigeru Miyamoto. What the game did so well was that language Nintendo created, the locations, the solid controls, and that freedom to explore and almost break this game. What Miyamoto wanted to do was have that difficulty curve that allowed players to grow, learn new skills, and overcome obstacles throughout. It runs parallel to the hero, where Link also grows, learns, overcomes adversities. It's like you're kind of learning together. It's a lengthy adventure, full of twists and turns, success and frustration, but what makes it work is that it is just a clever game design. You may fall through 3 floors of the fire temple because of an unfortunate mistake, but you persist because that motivation and desire to save the world is so strong. Not because you just want to finish the game for the sake of seeing the end credits roll and just be done with it, but to really overcome those obstacles because Nintendo have allowed you to connect to this world. But what if you haven't played Ocarina of Time? The game is super recommended whether you've played a Zelda game before or not. It's got a gripping story, solid controls, and excellent game design that truly does hold up today. You can give it a go on the Nintendo Switch Online app, or grab hold of the 3DS remake if you can. So there we go, my thoughts on what makes Ocarina of Time just so timeless, magnificent, and special. Do you agree? Or do you think that this game is incredibly overrated? Let us know your thoughts below. Also share your thoughts on our Discord as well. We love talking about Nintendo and Zelda and Pokemon and all the good stuff. Links are below. And if you like this video, be sure to hit the like button. If you want to see more Zelda, more Nintendo, more retro videos, you may want to subscribe. And before we move on to the next video, be sure to check out our exclusive merch, Geeky and Gaming Designs, voted for by you. Links are below. Thank you so much for your support. And there we go, a little brief overview of the magnificence of Ocarina of Time. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.